Hey guys, welcome to another podcast, movie review podcast, and today we're gonna be, reviewing. We're gonna be reviewing, um, Stephen King's *The Mist*, the 2007 film by Frank Darabont, or whatever his last name is.
Yeah, so as far as you can see from me, I'm kind of nervous cuz listen, I've seen many horror films that gave me the creeps. I've seen counts ones that haven't seen and I even though I heard. We get Alien, we get Halloween, we get Jaws, we get Alien, we get Oprah, we get The Thing, we get any of those movies that gave you the creeps and nothing happens or nothing wrong at all. But to The Mist, considering it is a horror film based on Stephen King, based on the novel by Stephen King himself, who also is known to do Cujo or It or any of the Stephen King or books you have read, or especially Carrie. Um, but The Mist, this is probably something I wish I really shouldn't be doing because even though I've seen the movie, yes, it's good, but I just feel like I'm just gonna try my best not to get angry talking about it because there's some moments where you actually think it actually has induced your anger rather than being scared the crap out of.
Yeah,
Well, before we get into this, right after we get to this movie, The Mist was, like I said, like what Jack mentioned, it is released in 2007 by Metro Goldwyn Mayer and Dimension Films. It received polarizing reviews from critics and has grossed over $57 million against a budget of $18 million, considering the movie was filmed in Louisiana in February and was released to the public on November 21st. So, without further ado, let's get started talking about The Mist. So, this movie starts as with a severe thunderstorm happening, striking in Bridgeton, Maine, causing a tree to crash through the lakeside home of artist David Drayton, played by Thomas Jane, who followed by his wife Stephanie and their 8-year-old son Billy. The next morning, David, Billy, and their neighbor Brent Norton, played by the late Andre Brager, rest in peace to Andre, as they both head to town for supplies, but they weren't aware that a mysterious mist is descending on the area of Maine. And if you don't know what the mist is, it is basically it's like the fog, only that it's no, it's the mist. And along the way, everyone had came across several military convoys. Um, Unfortunately, once they were inside the supermarket, um, the mist envelopes the town, trapping everyone inside. Dan Miller, a local resident, burst in, warning of unseen dangers in the mist.
came running in with a bloody nose.
Yep. So that's what the mist is, and
Yeah. Are you frozen or? I'm gonna ask him in the private chat.
Attempted to fix the storage generator, but was soon attacked by a tentacled creature.
Duke, I'd let you know your screen froze. And
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, Norm was attempted to fix the storage generator, but was attacked by a tentacled creature. We don't know what this creature is exactly called anyway.
all we know is that it dragged Storm to his death. And yes, he was a cocky jerk, but did he deserve that?
No.
No, he didn't.
Well, after that turn of events, the survivors began barricading the store while we come across a religious fanatic, someone that we already know who's gonna make this movie anger-inducing rather than being scared crapless.
Mrs. Carmody.
Yep. Played by Marcia Gay Harden. Oh, brother. This is this is gonna get a little interesting. Or maybe not.
Are you reading this on Wikipedia, by the way?
Yeah, I am.
Well, unlike the others, after you're done reading the plot, I'm going to have you read the cast list so I can know your opinion on each character in the film.
Yeah. But anyway, we come across Mrs. Carmody, and I'm already starting to get a little angry talking about it. Because, she preaches that the mist is quote unquote divine punishment. And of course, Brent, who was very skeptical of the danger, left the store with a group of people, but unfortunately never returned since then. Of course, David and a few others, including teachers Amanda Dunfree and Iron Repler, tried to maintain order. Unfortunately, the chaos ensued when giant flying insects and pterodactyl-like creatures broke through the windows, killing several people, including one that barely had more screen time. And that was Billy's baby, someone who was Sally, who was a cashier at the market, but it was also Billy's babysitter. Oh, brother. Poor Sally.
Yeah.
Yep. Knew that was coming. I mean, I must admit that's very intense, but of course she didn't really deserve that. I'd say that she and Norm deserved better. And of course, unfortunately, Mrs. Carmody unexpectedly narrowly survived the attack while praying. As a result, she gained more followers, capitalizing on the fear and despair among the survivors. And this is where I'm at the point where, like, this is where the camel would the straw would break the camel's back, because why just why would you have someone that's going to make this horror movie more anger inducing rather than being scared? when you think of Halloween or Jaws or Alien or any other movie you've seen that gave you the creeps. Unfortunately, I hate to say, needless to say, that The Mist is unfortunately not barely one of the movies that gave you the creeps. It makes your blood boil instead, which is the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Jack, what's your honest opinions on The Mist so far?
It is. I like it. It's a great movie.
Well, with the exception of someone making your blood boil, considering she is fictional, I don't know what's up with all that. Anyway, back to the film. A group led by David ventures to a nearby pharmacy in search of medical supplies, but is attacked by deadly spider-like creatures. And we come to the point where there's one scene that Jack pointed out to me on Instagram, and that's the only, and I think the only scene that gave me the creeps.
It's the death of the MP officer.
Yep. If you've seen the film, I'm sorry to say, but anyone who's afraid of spiders, this movie is not for you. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that, upon their return, tensions rise as we come across more a-holes. We have not only Mrs. Carmody, but we have Jim Groton, and we also have someone. I forgot who else.
Mr. Mackey.
Yeah, Mr. Mackey. Thank you. I was about to say, those guys right there, they're also another reason why I would come to the point where I would want to hate the film, but I can't, considering it is a Stephen King film after all. Here comes one of the scenes that kind of makes me and Jax's blood boil, and well, you're gonna see why. You're gonna see why. I don't know. Carmody calls for sacrifices to appease the monsters, singling out a soldier named Wayne Jessup, who reveals that the mist was the result of a military experiment to find other worlds that had gone wrong. As a result, he was thrown outside by her followers and immediately killed by a... Do you see why this movie makes my blood boil rather than being scared?
Yeah.
Well, after that, this is also comes to the last straw that makes me want to break the camel's back. Because Mrs. Carmody was arguably demand that Billy shall be sacrificed next, considering that Billy is 8 years old. And now but here's something satisfying that I think is really, really satisfying. Someone named Ollie Weeks, played by Toby Jones, somehow actually shot and killed Mrs. Carmody. And this is the point where I was really, really satisfied, because I can't stand her. And I would and then this is the point where I would shout, that was for Wayne. That was for Wayne, you a-hole.
Yeah.
Well, after that, this allows David and the group to escape the store, leaving other people behind who were followers of Mrs. Carmody, including Mr. Mackey and Jim, who both were somehow scared when they were almost held at gunpoint by Ollie. Unfortunately, Ollie himself was killed by the creature, and while the others grabbed his gun and drove off. Unfortunately, as the group stopped by David's house, they noticed Stephanie's dead body. As the group continued their drive through the mist, they passed scenes of widespread destruction and came across a colossal creature before eventually run out of gas. With no hope left, David, unfortunately, mercy kills the group with the last 4 bullets, including his son, Billy. David himself stepped out of the vehicle and screams for the monsters to come and kill him. The mist began to clear as the U.S. Army arrived soon after to exterminate the creatures and rescue survivors. Realizing his actions were in vain, a distraught David collapses, screaming in anguish. And that's how the movie ends, unfortunately.
If it makes you guys feel any better, let's all hope Mrs. Carmody's followers got arrested off screen.
Yep. Have you ever came across fictional characters that makes you think you want to punch them in the face, but the next thing you know is that you can't disrespect actors that are actually good? I got one. Chef Skinner and Ash, played by the late Sir Ian Holm.
Yeah. Who do I have? Well, there's freaking Greta Keane, played by what's her name? Flippin' Megan Carpenter or whatever. Megan Carpenter, I'm sorry. And Webby Garten, played by Jake Wary. I think that's the actor's name. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, The Mist is still a great film, and unfortunately, it had to end in a very terrible, heart-wrenching ending. Think of it this way: Saw did not have a good ending. It did not. It did not.
Yeah. Since we're 17 minutes in, I might as well talk about the cast, which is listed right below the plot.
So the cast of this film is, like I mentioned before, we have Thomas Jane. We also have Marcia Gay Harden, as mentioned, Laurie Holden, Andre Brager, Toby Jones, William Sadler, Jeffrey DeMunn, Francis Sternhagen, Sam Whitner, Alexa Davalos, Nathan Gamble, Chris Owen.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Sorry. Nathan Gamble as Bill. Like I said, Nathan Gamble, Chris Owen, Robert Trevilier, David Jansen, Melissa McBride, Andy Stowe, Buck Taylor, Juan Gabriel Periga, Walter Fauntleroy, Brandon Odell, Jackson Hurst, Susan Watkins, Matthew Greer, Kelly Collins Linz, Ron Clinton Smith, Armin Joseph, Brian Libby, Greg Brazel, Ginny Randall, Tiffany Morgan, and Sonny Franks.
There are actually a lot of characters in this film who don't have that much importance to the film, but they still manage to have an impact. Like, for example, like not just Sally, or Norm, but also, for example, there's the biker. You know, he gets the clothesline tied around his waist, and when he goes outside to get the gun, he ends up getting cut in half.
Yep. That was a terrible fate, honestly. That was a very terrible, or I should say, terrifying fate. I should say. Why did I say terrible anyway?
Then let me look them up. the Mist, Bobby, the Eagleton brothers, who both also end up dying. So if at one point during the whole pterodactyl and wasp situation, I think it was Joe who ends up burning himself alive, and he survives. We see him all burnt on the ground, begging for David's gun. Like he wanted it. He was in so much pain. He was crying. It's honestly heart wrenching.
Yep, that's true.
It doesn't help that during the whole scene at the pharmacy, like not just the MP officer, having freaking spiders crawling out of his skin, going, "It's all our fault." He like falls and his bag explodes open with freaking spiders. But then Joe's brother Bobby ends up getting a spider, an acidic spider web into his leg, and he bleeds out to death.
Oh, yep. I forgot about that. Honestly, that did make me. That made me flinch. That made me flinch. An acidic web. That's something I don't see every day.
Oh yeah, speaking of acidic webs, there was another character in that scene named Mike, who he doesn't really have that much importance. He's just one of the patrons of the store, but he joins in on the pharmacy expedition to like get burn supplies to like help Joe. He gets an acidic web to the face. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, jeez.
Aside from Jim Grondin, there's also another mechanic named Myron, who, unlike Jim, he doesn't go to Mrs. Carmody's side, thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully for that.
There is a deleted scene where he tries to snap Jim out of it, but Jim is a lost cause. He literally like pushes Myron away.
That was disrespectful, honestly.
I should point out that, okay, so, yes, the very first on-screen death happens to Norm. But before that, we actually get an off-screen death of this unnamed guy who, like, runs to his car. We, like, hear him screaming.
Some people may be wondering, what was the guy's fate? We may never know.
What else? There's also Ambrose Cornell, the old man. Not Dan Miller, but the other old man with a mustache.
Yeah.
Amongst several other characters, we have the store's manager, Bud Brown, who is literally the only other character in David's group beside David himself to survive.
That's true. That's true.
Because he ends up running back into the store and hopefully fires Jim and Mr. Mackey off screen.
Yep. I was wondering that too. I mean, how come the movie didn't show us that?
I mean, like, there's no way in heck Bud Brown would continue letting those two work for him after witnessing them kill an innocent soldier. He had to have fired them. There's actually 3 soldiers in the film. Wayne Jessup and his other 2 named Donaldson Morales. They both end up hanging themselves out of guilt. Yeah. It's a disturbing like build up.
Yep.
And this is before Wayne this is like right before Wayne dies. So. Obviously, the worst death goes to the MP officer because, jeez.
Yeah. Again, for anyone who's afraid of spiders, this movie is not for you, unfortunately.
What other characters are there? I think the only one I can think of left is is Melissa McBride's character, the woman with her kids at home. That's literally what she's credited as, woman with kids at home, and she gets the biggest plot point in the whole film. Where like at the beginning of the movie, once the mist appears, she's like, oh, I need to go home. Wanda's only looking after little Victor. She's only 8. The others don't want to help her for obvious reasons. There's monsters outside. She goes, I hope you all have rotten hell, and she like leaves the freaking store.
Yep.
We might think she ends up dying off screen. Nope. At the very end of the film, we see her amongst the survivors.
That is indeed true. Yeah.
What else is there? Yeah, I think that's oh, yeah. All those there's a lot of satisfying moments for Mrs. Carmody gets attacked. It's not just getting shot by Ollie Weeks either. Like beforehand,
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
at one point, Amanda slaps her in the face, giving her a bloody lip.
Yep. There's another satisfying moment, all right.
And there's another moment where Irene, the old woman, throws a can of peas at her.
Yep. Yeah, so yeah, The Mist, like I said, it's a good film, but yeah, there were still some moments that kind of had me angry still, and I never understood why.
And yeah. Seriously. All those followers of Mrs. Carmody just suck. Like, especially Jim Grundy and Mr. Mackey. There's a lot of others. Like, there's that one redheaded woman who like yells, "You murdered her!" at Ollie when he kills Mrs. Carmody. No. Keep your mouth shut, Tet. Her name's Tess, according to the Dead Meat Wiki.
Yep. Yep. Again, The Mist. It's still a great film. Other than that, everything else still makes your blood boil more.
But yeah, sorry if this review is a little short. But I can see Duke getting pissed off. So but before we end it off here, I don't know when we'll do our next podcast, but I just want to know, Duke, I just want to know which movie you want us to review next.
Not so sure because there's a lot of good movies out there. Yep, there's a lot to think of.
Well, I'll tell you what, maybe we can review The Mask next.
Oh yeah, The Mask, definitely. How can I say no to Jim Carrey?
Yeah, that can make you feel better. Anyway, so again, I don't know when we'll do our next podcast. Maybe this. I don't know. Maybe Saturday. So yeah, we'll see you all probably on Saturday. It just depends on how I feel. See you later, guys.